Simmons-Bush. I am the lead facilitator and founder of Each One Teach One, a homeschool right here in Atlanta, Georgia. And we have been in existence for 17 years and counting. Our homeschool is called Each One Teach One because we believe in the concept of everyone, regardless of age, learning from each other. So in our homeschool, I am the lead teacher, but children also learn from one another, and I learn from them, and the parents in our homeschool collective share information and resources with each other. So we all learn from one another, and that's the concept of Each One Teach One, and that's how we all grow. I've been homeschooling for 17 years, and it's been a journey. It's been a journey of growth and exploration, but I've always loved to work with children and to teach. And our homeschool is an extension of our family. And so the concept of being family and making learning not just something that happens in a classroom space, but making it a lifelong experience. That's how we homeschool. So everything is a potential learning experience, regardless of whether it's in a book or in nature or in experiences that we share with each other. Everything teaches, every experience teaches. And that's how we learn in our homeschool, from the youngest child to the oldest child. Everyone is having experiences and sharing experiences that help us all to learn and grow. So we cover academic subjects like language arts, math, science, social studies, health, but we also incorporate as core subjects music, vocal music, instruments, dance, yoga, emotional health, cultural awareness on a level of recognizing our own history and culture and the relevance of it. It's not something on the side, it's at the core of everything that we do. So this is African-centered education for African children, so that we can be empowered and take our place in this society and manifest our divine purpose for being here. I was asked a little while ago about public school versus homeschool in terms of, the children potentially missing out on opportunities to socialize or be involved in activities and have fun and do different things. Being a homeschooler really means taking full responsibility for your children's experience and their development. So that means being creative. That means creating experiences for them to not only have fun, but to have unique experiences that allow them to develop their different intelligences. So in our homeschool, we have school plays. Usually the school plays are based on African folk tales. So if we have read a particular folk tale, the children will initiate turning that into a skit where they write the scripts. That's language arts. They create the costumes. That's various aspects of arts, and they're sewing, they're using different craft materials to make costumes, and they direct the plays. They rehearse each other, and then they perform these skits and plays for the body of parents and other folks that we invite. So these kinds of things are essential so that the children have a holistic experience. Who wants to just sit at a desk and table all day with books and papers? Even adults wouldn't want to do that and listen to somebody talk. That's boring. So their experiences are creative. They're somewhat guided by the children's desires and interests. I think that's really important because as adults, as adult educators, we have a lot of information about what children need to learn, but intrinsically they also have a sense of what it is they're interested in learning, what it is they want to know about the world or about a particular topic. So I see my role as being a guide and a facilitator. I'm not the dictator of what they learn. I'm more of a guide and facilitator to help them learn the things they want to know, and for me to watch what they do and how they express themselves, and to see the seeds of various skills and talents in them so that I can create curriculum to help develop their gifts and talents. That's like the core of Each One Teach One, and what we do is developing who they are so that they can fulfill their purpose in this world. We deal with the multiple intelligences. We recognize that intelligence shows up in various ways. It's not just about verbal linguistic, which is how most schools are set up, where everything is regurgitated. Write everything, repeat everything verbatim, and that is the measure of how well you have learned. Well, real learning can be demonstrated in various ways. And so all people, adults and children, have various intelligences, whether it's verbal linguistic or naturalistic, where they have a very keen sense of things related to nature and plants and animals. Some people have a rhythmic kind of sense where rhythms speak to them and they're able to translate or express what they know with a rhythm alongside it. Some people have musical intelligence and interpersonal and intrapersonal intelligences, where they have a good sense of how people move and work, how people think, and how to connect people, how to help others relate to each other, and how to relate to themselves. So I incorporate the intelligences into how I work with the children so that they get a chance to express what they feel, what they know, what they are learning in various ways, and not always write this down. You know, that's just one small way of expressing what we have learned. So homeschooling also, I would say, is a very organic process. At least it is for us here. When I first started homeschooling 17 years ago, I did things the way that I thought they should be done based on bottom lines. I had a lot of bottom lines in mind, like, okay, I see the potential in my daughter to read, and she was only 2 years old, so I pushed. She was reading, she was reading at 2 years old, and not to say that every child has to, start reading at that age, but when the potential is there, you want to work with that, you want to build upon that. And so it was more of a focus for me on bottom lines. Like, okay, I see this in you, we're going to work on that. Push, push, push. And I learned that it's better when it's more organic and more holistic. Yes, I have high standards for all my students. Yes, I do push and motivate them, but I also pay attention to the cues that they give me about when it's enough for right now, when it's enough for today. That has to do with their emotional well-being, because at the end of the day, it's not about how much material we covered in a week or in a month or in a school year. It's about their actualization of who they are. One of the most essential elements of our homeschool here at Each One Teach One is the African-centered core. And what that means is our experience, our existence as African people where we live in America is the perspective or the lens through which we see life and the lens through which we approach our learning experience. To be able to incorporate African traditions that are valuable, that are relevant, that are uplifting for the children, it's so wonderful. It's fun for me as a parent, as an educator, and it's also it's enlightening for me to see daily how being instilled with the knowledge of themselves empowers these children to be their best. When you have a full awareness of the greatness of your ancestry, it gives you a confidence about what you can do. It's just like, let's continue the pattern. Your ancestors did great things in various areas of life. So can you, and you should, and you will. And we do it in practical ways. We incorporate proverbs as a way of imparting wisdom to the children and life lessons. We use Adinkra symbols. strong messages about how to live life, how to build good character. And this is just a fraction of how we instill in them a sense of pride and familiarity in their culture. It's really important to be immersed in culture. Everybody has a culture, even if we're not aware of it. So when African children are immersed in African culture that is strong, that is loving, that is supportive and empowering, it gives them a firm sense of who they are and what they must do and be in this world. I believe that all education is centered. It could be Eurocentric, it can be African-centered, but it's going to be centered in some culture, in some foundation and perspective. So for African children, it is totally appropriate that their education be African-centered, just like for European children. It's appropriate that their education be Eurocentric. It's about self-empowerment, self-love, and the development and the continuation of a people on this earth. And this is how we go about instilling that, by studying our culture, by studying the great ones, those scholars, those scientists, those educators in the recent past and the ancient past and the present, by making connections with those in our community who are doing great works that the children can be inspired by, to help give them a sense of what they can do and be, to give them ideas about how the world works and the parts that they can play in it. We're preparing the children to be successful based on how we define success in this world. Material success or the acquisition of things is not the end-all be-all. That's not what we're instilling in the children as the definition of success. Sure, it's great to have material things and we absolutely need currency, but in its totality, success is about the actualization of who you are, the fulfillment of your purpose for being here in this world, and the great contributions that you make to society and the world. That's what success is as we teach it here at Each One Teach One. And we're preparing our children here for real success, to be able to come away with skills, not just memorized facts or regurgitated information, but to have them come away with skills that they can use to benefit themselves and their families and community. And that's what it's all about for us. So we're 17 years in on this journey. I believe we have quite a few more years to go. And we're here. We also do consultations for parents who are interested in homeschooling but are unsure if they can or should do it. I do consultations, I do trainings, workshops, and it's a joy for me to share, because along the way on my journey, there were mothers and fathers who gave me support, gave me inspiration on my journey. So it's appropriate that I pay it forward and assist others. And of course, we have full and part-time homeschool services available for families who may not be able to do it themselves, but are looking for a solid, strong homeschool family environment for their children. We are Each One Teach One, and I can be reached at 678-707-3810. Also by email at eachoneteach1@yahoo.com. I'm on Facebook at Tamara Nichita Simmons-Bush, and I'm also on Instagram at EOTO Homeschool.
Man in the world.
So reach out if you're interested in having school with us, or if you're in need of assistance or services.